there was a lot of talk on social media about people's opinions on how things went on deadline day. And there was a lot of reaction on social media and on Twitter. So we're going to be looking at some tweets from Twitter and some reaction to deadline day and how we've been left in the state of play. So let's see what people have to say. This is from the Extra Inch, which I think for me perfectly summed up. Like, I couldn't think of a more perfect summation of the window. If I read what they wrote in a paragraph to BBC, it says, to the question, have Spurs squad needs been addressed? This is from Nathan Clark, who I'm a big fan of on Twitter. He says, Director of Football Fabio Paratici has used his contacts at and knowledge of Juventus to bring in 2 quality players who are significantly undervalued by the market. That's great, but what does this do for our lack of cover at centre-back? How does this improve our creativity on the right flank? How will this decrease our burden of minutes of Harry Kane's ankles? This deals-orientated approach to the market is something we became used to under Daniel Levy, when Daniel Levy assumed the role, and it does have its upsides, of course, but we thought it would be different now that we have a real director to address the needs of the squad. And yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like this window under Fabio, maybe outgoings is improved, but in terms of how we've dealt with incomings, nothing really has changed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's spot on. I think word for word, that's actually absolutely spot on, to be honest. And I can't really put it better myself. We've left ourselves short in certain areas of the pitch. The way we're conducting our deals haven't really changed at all. Waiting for the last minute, arguing over every single little penny that's going out of this club hasn't changed. It stinks of Daniel Levy. But on the flip side of all that, I still think we've put ourselves in a very good chance for top 4.
Yeah, I agree with that. We do have a good chance to top 4.
Big up, Bob.
Oh, that's Bob Spurt TV. He's obviously tweeting from his hospital bed. He is making a recovery. He says, despite being in hospital and having a life-threatening operation, I'm still tuned in to check out the news and see if Spurs can pull off anything. Lastminute.com.
Bobby Singh. He's
Fortunately, we couldn't do it for him, but there you go. This was a thread from Lewis Thompson. He said, so this transfer window, Spurs needed a striker, cam, right wing back, centre back. Kulusevski can potentially play at a 10, and Bentancur has been brought in to replace Celso, Ndombele and Dele. We've also lost Hill from the first team squad, whilst John, Makema, Kande and Clark have left from the youth. So we've saved 200 grand plus 100 grand plus 70 grand plus 40k, 410k per week in the first team squad, whilst Bentancur and Kulusevski earn 75 and 110. Although he's saying they earn that much. So Kulusevski's on 110 and Bentancur's on 75. We'll potentially earn up to...
That's fact, though, do we?
That's what he's claiming. I don't know how he's getting those numbers. We will potentially earn up to... Maybe he's basing on what they were earning before. We'll potentially earn up to 40 million from the Dele deal, potentially 60 million from a Dembele, and whatever we can get for Celso. We've paid 10 million for the loan of DK Kulusevski, potentially paying 35 million, 17 million for Bentancur, although altogether we have saved 225k a week, as well as potentially 70 million in transfer fees, whilst not strengthening right wing back and striker or centre back. Surely we as fans and Conte can't be happy with this. Oh, so he's I thought he was... Oh, sorry, I misread it the first time. But he's saying, surely we can't be happy with the business we've done. What do you think? With the window in general?
I mean, look,
there's 5 out of... If you're saying it's 6 out of 10, does that mean you means you're content with the squad? Not happy, not angry?
I'm content, but I'm also slightly disappointed. If that makes sense.
But isn't it a case of, as well, like, we've had 6 out of 10 windows before, haven't we? And then we kind of say, oh, that's okay.
We've also had 8 windows before when we brought in Ndombele, Lo Celso.
Like, for example, the window in the summer, we will probably say that... Didn't we say that was like a 6 or something out of 10?
Can't remember what we said in the summer, but I remember when we had Ndombele, Lo Celso and all them, we were raving about that window, and it ended up being an awful window.
I remember on deadline day, you weren't actually that happy.
What, with the Ndombele deal?
No, not with the deal. No, not with the deal. With the window overall.
I mean. Oh, really?
Yeah, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Why wasn't I happy?
I was more positive about it than you were, if I remember rightly. I remember we were on
we
were doing a deadline day stream. I actually think we were doing it in the office over there, if I remember rightly. And you were saying, I can't remember exactly. I don't remember exactly. Maybe someone can find it, but I'm pretty sure. I remember you weren't as happy as I was with that window.
I don't remember that whatsoever, but if you say so.
All right, that's what Lewis Thompson has to say. Let's keep going with some more tweets. Martin Samuel wrote a article in the Daily Mail saying this idea of Levy running rings around his rivals is pure fantasy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. It used to be the case maybe 10 years ago, but the guy's out of touch now.
Someone quote tweeted the article saying Spurs chief Daniel Levy's reputation as a wily transfer operator is utter fantasy. He has failed to land a big signing in the past 6 years and was outfoxed on Diaz, and Traore. Conte needs to be backed and needs a chairman to trust him.
Let's wait a second here. I'm all for bashing Daniel Levy, 100%. I'm a massive, anti-Levy person. I am. But when you're saying stuff that isn't true, then it doesn't back up our points, because he has been able to bring in big signings. Romero in the summer is a big signing. Kulusevski, in my opinion, is a big signing. Yes, they haven't come often enough, but to say he hasn't been able to land any big signings is completely not true.
Is Kulusevski a big signing?
I think he is, yeah. I think he is. When you're looking at an up-and-coming... Okay, fine, he's not a ready-made player waiting to come in, but when you're talking about an up-and-coming player coming into the league who's a top talent, Serie A Young Player of the Year, Christian Romero was Defender of the Year in Serie A, Ndombele, when we signed him, was one of the most sought-after young players coming through the ranks as well. Mm-hmm. Giovanni Lo Celso also was a big signing at the time. So to say we don't bring in any big signings is completely false.
Yeah, we have brought in some big signings. That's true. No, yeah, I'm absolutely right. I think he has landed some, but a lot of the ones that we also really wanted have also gone by the wayside, haven't they?
Yeah, of course they have. Truth. But just because a lot have gone, let's be honest, a lot have gone by the wayside, it doesn't mean he never gets in the big signings.
Yeah, I'll tell you, to say he hasn't landed, I guess if you're saying big signing, you're saying monetarily wise, and not in terms of big signing for the team.
Yeah, when I say big signing, I'm talking about
money.
No, not money. I'm talking about personnel-wise. If they're a big player to come in, with a lot of scope to improve and big stature. Mm. And I think Ndombele had that stature. I think Lo Celso had it to a certain extent. I think Romero most definitely have it, and I think Kulusevski has it to a certain extent as well.
Fair enough. That's 4 in how many years?
4 years.
4 in 4 years.
Yeah.
There's Tottenham saying thank you to Dele Alli for.
Don't forget he landed Bale last year as well.
On a year loan. Yeah, he did.
And yeah,
true. Well, let's see. 1 sec. I've got some replies. So we did a poll yesterday. I replied to that tweet saying, am I happy with the business done? Yes. Am I happy with the squad we have left? No. You can think both things. Philip Reed says the squad has been streamlined, but being pragmatic now, there are only 18 league games to play, plus hopefully a handful of cup games. Barring injuries, we have cover in all positions. But that's the whole point, is you have cover for injuries. So you can't say barring injuries we have cover. That doesn't make too much sense. But I understand what you're saying, because we do a lot of there are a lot of positions we do have cover, in my opinion. I think the defensive mid position we have cover. Obviously we don't have any other type of midfielders, but defensive midfield we have cover. I think on the wing, on the attacking midfield positions in the 2 number 10s or the wingers, we have cover. Left wing back we have cover. I think right centre back, you can argue we have cover. Right / centre back, if one of them gets injured, we have cover because Sanchez can come in, but if both get injured, we kind of don't have cover. And that's it. But striker, right wing back, left centre back, if they get injured, we are kind of screwed. And if we are forced to play Tanganga or Rodon at centre back, you could argue that's also not very good. Matt Gower says, I think it's a good window. We have got rid of players that simply don't want to be there, and that would have had an effect on the squad. Would like to have got more, but to sign players in January always difficult. I do think the boys we have signed have potential and at good prices.
Yeah, and I kind of feel similar, that apart from that, it being a good window, I would say it's been an okay window. I'm very happy with the guys that we got out. I'm happy with the guys that we got in, but yeah, we could have done a bit more with bringing a few more in.
Definitely. The Wellman Sam says, feel like we got halfway through a list of jobs. I think we expected some parts to wait until the summer.
Not even halfway through.
We can hold some hope in that we have 2 signings that Conte wants and are definitely good players, plus Romero and Son coming back. Yeah, true. It's easy to forget Romero played 1 league game under Conte. That was Everton, and the Everton said he's been injured.
That's mad.
So that is something to remember in terms of improving our defensive options. Son's been out for a bit, although I thought, apart from the Chelsea games, we coped fairly well without him. So that was okay. Look at that for 1 sec from Cody Mack. Tottenham Hotspur for life. Hello. I can't read the rest of his tweet. He says, people gotten rid of Toby. So Alderweireld, Aurier, Sissoko, Lamela, Lo Celso, Ndombele and Dele. Paratici has been ruthless in getting rid of players, not hoarding, cleaning up the atmosphere at the club. And I think definitely he's been tasked with that, hasn't he, Paratici, of getting rid of a lot of the players a lot of people felt was stale and all that kind of stuff, and bringing some fresh blood. He's definitely getting rid of the stale players. Here is a poll we put on yesterday. At the moment, it's on 2,967 votes, which is very close to 3,000 votes. And it has 4 hours and 15 minutes left. The poll was, with Spurs signing Kulusevski and Bentancur, whilst letting go of Dele and Ndombele, Gil and Lo Celso, which is exactly what we did yesterday. There was no more, no less. Is the Spurs squad now stronger than before the window opened? 44% said, I was currently saying stronger, 30% are saying weaker, and 26% saying unchanged. So there's one way of saying it. The majority is strongest winning, but the other way of thinking about it is 56% of saying it's either weaker or unchanged. So there's 2 ways you can read the poll if you want to read it that way.
Where do you sit in that one?
Where do I sit on that one? I'll probably say unchanged.
Unchanged.
Yeah, unchanged.
I'm not sure.
Probably so. If it's stronger, it's only by a few percentage points. I'd say.
Yeah, I probably agree with you there.
Nothing short of an absolute delight. Go and smash it, Dele Alli. That was from Torquay actually, and what a picture! I'll never forget that picture. Dele Alli at
there in that
Bridge.
Stadium. What a day that was, man!
Just look at those Chelsea. Look at that piss being boiled there. Unbelievable. Never forget that.
That day was incredible, and when Dele gave us so many great moments, man. So many great moments. You remember being in that away end when we beat Arsenal out the cup and he dinked it over the keeper and gave Arsenal that stick. I mean, there were so many moments. Shithousery between Arsenal time and time again. Big moments. That Crystal Palace goal, Real Madrid game. I mean, there were just so many moments that some that are not even coming into my head. What a few years he had with us, man.
Definitely. Tongi Ndombele's Tottenham career by numbers: 92 games, 10 goals, 9 assists. He cost Tottenham 2.8 million per goal involvement.
Bloody hell.
Unfortunately wasn't. He didn't even play 100 games, which is really not that much. Jack Pitbrook assessed the window, and this is what he had to say. It's a little short thread. He says, how do we assess Spurs' window overall? Obviously, they failed to get their first priority, which was a right wing back, but they did get another player for the front three and another centre mid. It's easy to dismiss the fact Paratici had to go back to Juventus for 2 squad players, but I think Kulusevski and Bentancur, both very good players, and Spurs will be better off for having them. Maybe the big story in the end was Spurs successfully moving on Dele and Ndombele, Lo Celso and Gil, which was not something I was expecting at the start of the month. As Dan Kilpatrick said yesterday, Spurs have been bad at moving players on in recent years, so this felt like a change. You could argue that the 4 outs are on aggregate better than the 2 signings, and that maybe the squad is smaller / weaker as a result, maybe. But these players are only useful insofar as they are useful to Conte, and those 4 only made 3 Premier League starts between them under Conte. So perhaps with Spurs out of Europe, they're better off with a smaller squad rather than having players around who Conte doesn't believe in. But there's no getting past the fact that they spent 3/4 of the window chasing Traore and still don't have a new right wing back. It's Emerson or Doherty for the second half of the season, unless they want to convert Bergwijn ? And yet again, there's no obvious plan B if Kane gets injured. So where does that leave Spurs for the second half of the season? I think they've done fine in the circumstances, but I don't think they're obviously more likely to get 4th now than they were before. What do you think?
The only reason...
pretty much that last part, yeah. Are we more likely to get 4th now than we were before?
The only reason I think we're more likely to get 4th now than we were at the beginning of the window is because of the state of our competitors. That's the only reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess even if you say our position is unchanged, you could argue our competitors are weaker. So that makes us more likely.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a good thread. Ben Pearce says, odd day seeing an entire midfield quartet depart, while it makes sense to shift frustrating underperforming players, all of them in the middle of a tight top 4 fight seems a risk and a big gamble on 2 new boys. Hard to say confidently Spurs have strengthened.
Yeah, I can definitely see that side of the argument, but at the end of the day, if these players are not adding anything, they're playing poorly the majority of times they're playing, and Conte doesn't believe in them and their attitude's not right, it might be just better to cut our losses, even if it is all of them.
Fair enough. There's Dejan Kulusevski cracking his knuckles, ready to get down to work for Tottenham Hotspur. Absolutely brilliant stuff. We're looking forward to seeing him in the Tottenham shirt. Here's an interesting one. The question from Matthew THFC here is Dele Alli a Tottenham legend in your opinion? And then Danny Kiriakou quote tweeting it saying, definitely not. It's a disgrace to call Dele Alli a legend. He's not a Kane or a Son or Lloris. Dele had 2 to 3 good seasons and we didn't win any trophies. His last 3 years have been nothing short of a disgrace to the Spurs badge, in my opinion. Hero at times, but glad the toxicity is gone. Is Dele a Tottenham legend?
No, unfortunately not. I think Danny is bang on the money with that one. I think he's being a bit too harsh in the way he's saying it, but I think he's bang on the money. I think that if he would have carried on the form of his first 2 years for his whole reign at Tottenham, obviously we wouldn't even be thinking about selling him right now, and he would be on his way to becoming a Tottenham legend. But you can't call someone a legend for... I think you might be able to call them a legend for 2 good years, and if they're only here for 2 years.
Because you don't want to rule out Klinsmann and Ginola, do you?
Exactly.
You speak very carefully how you word this, Ben. Treading on very thin.
You saw how I worded it, and I worded it with that definitely in mind. But you can't call someone a legend if they've had those 2 good years and they follow it up with 3 bad years. You can't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think what he says there, that Dele has been a hero at times, that's definitely true.
Yeah, unfortunately, legend. I don't know if you can go down as a legend.
The thing is, the term legend gets banded about way too often these days in football. Way too often.
Would you attend a Dele Alli Legends night?
Yes.
There you go. January arrivals of the top 4 contenders: Man United 0 on 38 points, West Ham 0 on 37 points, Arsenal 0 on 36 points, and Tottenham, Bentancur and Kulusevski 36 points, and Wolves, Chiquinho and 34 points. Is it advantage Tottenham?
I mean, that is so misleading because it doesn't say about the outgoings.
But is it advantage Tottenham based on the incomings?
I mean, yeah, but you have to take the outgoings into consideration as well.
But I think even more advantage.
I think we've all been saying. I don't think we're in a race with Arsenal and West Ham. I think it's between us and Man United. And in terms of the business that we've both done this January transfer window, I wouldn't say it's advantage Tottenham in the transfer race, but it has put us on a bit closer to them in terms of who's more likely to get it.
Okay, I agree with that. And then finally, we got guards 40-40. This is, I think, looking at Paratici ever since he came to Tottenham. He said, employ Nuno, who got sacked, wanted Gattuso, signed Gil for 25 million plus Lamella, loaned him out. Bought Emerson, who doesn't fit the system, although he did at the time. Bought Galini, bought Romero, which is actually decent business. Signed Juve unwanted stock. Squad weaker than when the window began. Dele out on a free transfer. Doesn't look great. Paratici has been coming in for a lot of criticism, hasn't he, this window? Do you think a lot of it's warranted?
I was actually going to say before about Paratici, because he's getting a lot of slack for going over to Juventus and picking up fringe players from Juventus, which they're not fringe players, let's be honest, especially Bentancur. Do you think that he would have come up from the same slack for picking up similar ilk of players from Real Madrid where he doesn't have those links?
No, he wouldn't. Imagine you've got, like, say, I know it's maybe different, but like Isco's, he's been out in the cold in Madrid.
So the only reason
you could call him a bench warmer, but he's like a good player.
The only reason he's getting flack is because he used to work for Juventus.
Correct.
So that doesn't sit right with me.
No, I don't criticise him at all for that. I do think some of business maybe coming back to bite us a bit in terms of maybe, like, I think Gil, as much as I believe he could be a good player for us, and I'm not saying we should never have signed him, but 25 million plus Melo now looking pretty steep at this point, let's be honest.
Agreed.
Emerson for 25 million, I would say at the time it really seemed like a decent deal. I still think under Nuno, when he's playing at right back, he wasn't bad. Right wing back, he's taking time to develop, hasn't been great. But let's be honest, if it wasn't Emerson, it either would have been no one or could have been Tomiyasu. But let's be honest, would Tomiyasu be a right wing back?
If Tomiyasu was in our squad right now, he'd play right centre back.
Exactly. So we still wouldn't have a right wing back. If Tomiyasu played right wing back, he'd probably look just as bad as Emerson.
Yeah, and if the summer transfer dealings were with Conte, we would never have gone for Emerson.
No. In terms of Galini, yeah, he's not looking great, but he's a backup keeper, so whatever.
Sarr, you don't really know right now.
Sarr, we don't really know.
And Romero obviously was brilliant signing.
Yeah, he's a good signing.
Again, he hasn't.
The top two employed Nuno, who got sacked. Yes, but I think he was just. I reckon for me, Fabio. First of all, he wanted Conte, right? First of all, didn't he? He approached and he wanted. I don't know if he wanted Fonseca, but he wanted Conte originally. I'm just saying he wanted Conte originally, and that I doubt it was his fault that deal broke down initially. So I think when Nuno got appointed, the club were under so much pressure just to get someone in. Like, he just seemed the easy option, I think, at the time, which obviously was an absolute disaster.
And you've got to remember, he came in bang in the middle of the farcical manager search, Paratici. He wasn't there for the whole 75 days or whatever it was he? I mean, Daniel Levy started this crazy search for so long, and Paratici basically got called, all right, come in and sort this out for us. And that was his first job.
Wanting Gattuso was pretty worrying, to be fair.
Yeah, it was
that was pretty worrying, but obviously we didn't get him in the end. So that's true. Squad weaker than when the window began. I think in terms of numbers it is. In terms of quality, or in terms of...
In terms of quality it is as well, but in terms of mentality...
Yeah, in terms of players playing that Conte...
Players that want to be here.
Yeah, that's not true. And Dele free transfer, like, it's not... I mean, it is technically, but it's not.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's all completely accurate, but it makes one or two good points.
People like to put stuff out just to suit their own narratives. You know what I mean? Like Dele free transfer.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, technically it is, but it's not.
Yeah. A free transfer, which we can also gain 40 million off.
Someone tagged us, John Schuster, saying, on David Ellis' tweet, he said, am I the only one on this platform absolutely convinced the dirty work has been done and we are going big in the summer, or have I lost it? And this is a graphic. Total net spend this way. Have we earned 20 million this window, have we? How does that make sense?
No, we haven't. How? How have we earned 20 million this window?
It says here, and how...
We haven't brought in any money.
It says here City have earned 41. Who did City sell? What's going on here? Who did City sell this window?
No one. Who did they sell?
Anyone in the comments? Who did City sell? Am I going mad? And how did we earn 20?
Oh, Ferran Torres.
Okay, Ferran Torres. Fair enough. Okay, that makes sense. And they only signed Alvarez. How did we
What, did they sell Ferran Torres for?
Yeah, big money. Yeah,
Was it big money? How much was it?
45, I think.
It's 45, but that says they've made 40 million. And they signed Alvarez for 20 million.
Yeah, but that's maybe delayed.
Right.
Oh no, how much was Ferran? It was quite a bit. Whatever. That probably makes sense. It was like in euros, so it's hard to.
Okay.
Tottenham making 20 million. How does that make sense? I guess if you say Delhi is 40 million, right? Let's say if Delhi's 40, if that's what they're saying, and then Kulusevski is technically a loan for 10, and Bentancur is 15, so that's 25. That kind of makes 20 million in a way.
Yeah, again, but it's just like putting numbers together to suit a narrative again when it's not really.
Oh,
the case.
Edwards. Someone said you put Edwards in there as well.
We got 7.5 million.
7.5 million. So I guess if you put all that together, that kind of makes 20 million in a way. If you stretch it that way.
Yeah. But then if you're putting the Delhi money in there, I don't know, man. It's just it's all a bit too much.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Cody tagged us in something. What was it? Cody Mack. I'll read your tweet. What have you thought? He tagged us in his own tweet. All right. There you go. So the caller, the cheese room, he asked the same question we asked. Did we back Conte this window? And Cody Mack replied, reducing wage bill is not backing, removing poor attitudes is not backing, not replacing players moved is not backing, not addressing clear needs is not backing, buying 2 squad players is not backing, negative spend is not backing, rivals not spending is not backing. So from that point of view, have we not backed Conte then? That's what he's claiming.
Look,
I mean, I think he does make some good points.
He does make some good points.
What I would say is removing poor attitudes, and I think that is backing Conte because we've done it before. Where, for example, under Mourinho, he wanted Dele gone, and we didn't, right? Because we were so insistent on keeping him. That was not backing Mourinho.
Backing your manager is listening to what he says and following through on these requests. I have no doubt in my mind some of his requests were to get these players out the door. But some of his requests were to get certain positions in through the door. That's why I keep saying that he hasn't been fully backed, but he has been backed to a certain extent.
Yeah, he's been backed to a certain extent, but he probably needed a bit more.
He did need a bit more, and he hasn't been backed anywhere near enough probably that he would have liked to have been backed.
Yeah. Although Ali Gold claims he's content. So whatever that means.
Content is not over the moon though, is it?
I don't think Conte lives in does content. He's either 100, exactly 0 to 100%
or 0.
Someone tagged us, THSC Bro tagged us, We Are Tottenham TV, what are your thoughts on this? This thread makes a lot of sense. How long is this thread? There's only a few tweets. Let's go for it. Addressing window concerns. Number 1, we need a striker. Yes, but none of the quality Conte requires were available this month. Bergwijn, Son and Kulu all provide coverage until the summer. I think you can make a decent case for that. But if Kane does, I think that's a good case for if Kane needs a rest. But it's not a good case if Kane gets injured. I think if Kane,
I think Son can be.
But he said he doesn't like Son up front.
I know he says that, but he's done a job there quite well before for us.
He has, yeah. But I think Bergwijn's going to be the guy, not Son. Anyway, we need a centre back, yes, but Romero return and Jaffet will suffice until the summer. Jaffet, will he survive until the summer though? Jaffet again. If it's a case of rotation, if Jaffet comes in for a game here or there, then yeah. But if it's a case of if we get an injury and he has to play every game, for example, if Davies gets a long-term injury and Jaffet is playing every game, that becomes a problem, I think.
Do you think if Davies is the only guy injured, Jaffet's the one that comes in?
Unless we move Romero left and put Sanchez in.
Yeah, you can put Romero left and put Sanchez in. Sanchez back to the left.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the thing is, I think Jaffet is more comfortable on the left than Sanchez is, but obviously Sanchez is a much better player.
You could even move like Romero into the centre and put Dyer on the left or something.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do that. I think he likes Dyer. Centre.
I know he likes him there, but when you got injuries, and you need to make it work.
Yeah, but I don't think he does that. I don't think he shuffles.
But there are different options that you can do. It's not just putting in Japhet Tanganga as the only option. There are different options there.
I
That's
guess.
what I'm saying.
I guess it was interesting to see how he deals with that. We need a creative midfielder. No, we don't. Conte's 3-4-3 relies on 2 all-action pillars in midfield, with the creativity primarily coming from wing-backs. Well, then leads on to the next point. We need a right wing-back. Yes, yes, but unable to shift Doherty, and homegrown options not available this window can address in the summer. 5 out and 2 in, we are weaker. No, we are not. While 5 bodies are out the door, they are players that we would not feature under Conte. These are players and dressing room influences Conte clearly wanted out. 2 players brought in will feature regularly. That's a fairly good point, but it is a lot of pressure on them, as someone else said. January window equals bolster team with 1 or 2 signings, not revamp whole squad, fill multiple holes. January market is all about domino effect, with aversion to selling players while clubs fighting for European spots, trophies. Calmer summer window is where most business will get done. So
Well,
that's
we'll
his
see
thread.
about that, won't we?
I think he makes some good points, but also he does make some good points, to be fair. But you can't say this paragraph here. You can't say we don't need a creative midfielder because we get creativity from the wings, and then say, oh well, we can get a right wing back. Then you have to get a creative midfielder, or you get. You can't just have it both
We need
ways.
both, to be fair.
Yeah. Anyway, fairly decent thread though. Someone else tagged us in something. Most completed passes into the final third this season. Højbjerg is 7th in the
Scroll
league.
up because you can't see on the screen.
Sorry.
Oh, right, yeah.
Højbjerg is 7th in the league for passes into the final third this season. Maybe there's someone suggesting underrated, and he did it against Leicester. I thought he was doing some really good passes into the box as well, which got us a couple of goals late on. But yeah, I mean, Højbjerg of late has been recent. He makes some decent passes into the final third, but whether they're good passes, that's one.
So does
thing
Skip as well.
So does Skip, yeah.
And I'm hoping Bentancur will as well.
Amir Shami says, do you agree Delhi was peaked too early?
Well, that's what it seems like.
Well, it's hard to say. Cameron says, I don't think Man United not spending puts in a better position than them. I do think that we'll finish top 4 above them. However, all they've done is move players that they're not using right now, Donny, Diallo, and not brought in anyone. You say that, but Martial came off the bench quite a lot, and I don't know whether he did well or not, but he was being used even in his last game. Okay, he wasn't doing well, but he was still being used. Greenwood was definitely being used, so they have been weaker if they didn't bring anyone in.
They've got players out that probably made more impact than we got players out in.
Who their forward options now? Without Van der Beek, Greenwood, and Martial, they've got Rashford, they've got Sancho, Ronaldo, Cavani.
To be fair, Martial hardly played this season, man. Hardly. Literally. 2 minutes.
But in January
2 minutes
he did.
Here, 2 minutes there.
In January he played a bit.
Nah, he played 9 minutes in one
In the
game.
last game.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, but if you think about forward options, right? If you got Rashford on the left with Martial coming in, all of a sudden without that you just have Rashford, and so it could leave them open if Rashford
they're forwards.
picks up an injury.
You got to remember Elanga's coming good now as well.
Yeah, but he's 18.
starting. Yeah, I know, but he's still producing good football. He's playing well,
He's not going to get them top 4.
but he's been playing better than Martial and influencing them.
He's
things
played a
more
couple
than
of games.
Martial.
It's too early.
Cavani, Elanga, Rashford, Ronaldo, and Sancho.
Yeah,
It's good options.
it's good options. You've got 2 sub, but you,
And as
Yeah,
well, they didn't get
Cavani.
rid of Jesse Lingard as well.
Lingard's there as well. Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes.
Who's got better options, us or United?
United? United got more of them anyway.
You'd rather if
If you ask me to swap their forward options for our forward options, what is it? All the players I just mentioned in return for
Kane, Son,
Bergwijn,
Lucas, and
Kulusevski.
Kulusevski. Or Sancho, Rashford, Ronaldo, Cavani, and Lingard.
I'll take ours, I think, actually.
I think Kane and Son just make that difference, don't
Yeah. I'll take ours, I think. But I don't think there's too much in it.
I think Rashford and Sancho are obviously better than than Bergwijn and Lucas, and probably Kulusevski. But Kane and Son, I'll take Kane and Son right now. I know over any of those
Ronaldo
players.
and Cavani.
Of any of those players, Sancho, Rashford, I'll take Kane and Son right now over there.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it for Twitter for now. But yeah, that was Twitter reacting to deadline day and Tottenham's transfer window.
All right. So that was good. Let's move on now.